Bonjour to welcome back to our channel. Today we are taking you to Petit Trianon. We are continuing our episode with Marie-Antoinette. So, on y va?
Today we take you to Petit Trianon, the smaller chateau that is famous for being the main residence of Marie-Antoinette until the French Revolution.
And while Petit Trianon is mainly associated with Marie-Antoinette, it was actually built between 1761 and 1768 for Louis XV and Madame de Pompadour.
Madame de Pompadour unfortunately would die before the chateau was completed, so it was eventually inhabited by Madame de Barry, the last mistress of Louis XV.
Louis XVI would then offer Petit Trianon in 1774 to the Queen Marie-Antoinette.
While we are walking to Petit Trianon, I would like to mention, in order for us to reach to a wider audience and to continue publishing the videos, we would really appreciate if you could engage, if you could just like, dislike, however you wish, and comment down below the video. It would really help algorithm to pass this video to wider audience, and we would really appreciate that.
We arrived to Petit Trianon by a long alley lined with poplar trees. At the end of the alley stands a gate, framed by two small pavilions that give access to a courtyard of vast proportions and bordered on both sides by walls masking service passages and gardens.
The chateau is built in the neoclassical style and designed by the architect Jean-Jacques Gabriel.
Upon entering, visitors are met with the grand vestibule and l'escalier de l'honneur. Here, the interiors are bright and sober. The gold is kept to a minimum, and it is the architectural grand proportions that add the majestic touch to the residence.
The ground floor consists only of the so-called domestic rooms, which are the spaces reserved for servants, general services, guards' room, and reheating.
Once Marie-Antoinette moved in, she had several changes done to the interiors, as well as the botanical garden of Louis XV, which was transformed into the Anglo-Chinese garden in accordance with the fashion at the time.
Next, we go up to the first level, or the noble floor, that hosts the Queen's apartments. We are first met with the antechamber, also called buffet room or stove room. Reflecting Louis XV's desire to mix the interior and the exterior with Trianon, the room allows direct access to the terrace and the Jardin Français.
In the same room, one can appreciate the painting Marie-Antoinette à la Rose by Élisabeth Vigée-Lebrun. This portrait, you most probably have seen it in many reproductions, shows the queen dressed in a discreet and elegant dress. On a previous version, considered scandalous by the people of the court, the queen appeared in the same position, but dressed in a muslin dress and a straw hat, an outfit she liked to wear at the Petit Trianon, but was considered below her status. Hence the change in the outfit. The more acceptable version of the portrait is the one represented here, and it is the original.
By the window, two busts remind us we are at Marie-Antoinette's, as one is of her husband, King Louis XVI, and the other her brother, the Emperor Joseph II.
La Grande Salle à Manger is where Louis XV dined and could accommodate about 50 guests. Its luxury decor is dedicated to nature. Here, Marie-Antoinette organized her official dinners. The bust of the young queen in her 20s graces the fireplace. The four major paintings on the theme of the four seasons represent the activities of man to feed himself. The carved solid mahogany armchairs by Georges Jacob are made from antique models designed by Hubert Robert. These are not the original chairs from the Petit Trianon and date from 1787. They are brought from the Laterie de Château de Rambouillet. Still, they closely represent the originals.
La Petite Salle à Manger is next, and it is more intimate than the first. It could accommodate about 20 guests. It is this room that Louis XV imagined to equip with flying tables. The idea of a table coming up from the lower floor directly from the level below, before retreating from the expense that such an installation would have caused. The furniture we see today comes from the dining room at the house of the Queen's Hamlet.
Next, we enter le Salon de Compagnie. This is the main room of the floor. The lower medallions of the panels are decorated with the Louis XV monogram entwined in 3 fleurs-de-lis and crowned with roses. The spectacular lantern in chiseled bronze, gilded with 2 gold tones and partially varnished, is an order from the Queen in 1784. By the way, it is in this room that Marie-Antoinette demanded, contrary to the etiquette, for the people present to not interrupt their activities, such as playing music or talking, every time she entered the room.
Le cabinet de glace mouvante, with its moving mirror panels that can be moved from the floor below, installed for the privacy when Marie-Antoinette moved here. This former cabinet of Louis XV was previously equipped with a private staircase that allowed the king to reach the entresol, located just above.
The Queen's bedroom is next. Marie-Antoinette ordered the decorator Jean de Mostyn-Dugour to redesign it as it used to be occupied by Madame du Barry. Cabinet maker Georges Jacob was in charge of furnishing it with a set called trellis or spikes, evoking the four seasons and reminiscent of nature that surrounds Le Petit Trianon.
We then climb up one floor to entresol, a place only accessible with a guide and close to a general public visit. Located above the Queen's apartments, it was reserved for the small cabinet of Louis XV and Madame du Barry.
With the arrival of Marie-Antoinette, this area was assigned to house the women of her service, her lady of honor and her first maid, who was to serve the Queen's room, that is, she organized her getting up, her toilet, but also her activities of the day or her travels.
One maid was Madame Campan, who is known for her devotion to the Queen until her execution, but also for her memoir. She was initially a reader of Louis XV's daughters and then became Marie-Antoinette's maid from 1786. Her memoir records a priceless testimony of life in Versailles and Marie-Antoinette's personality. Liberated by the removal of Louis XV's private staircase, this room was in 1780 equipped with large cabinet and transformed into a library by Richard Meek. This library was mainly used by the Queen's reader, who sometimes came here to look for a book at Marie-Antoinette's request.
We now climb up even higher, to the attics. Arranged by Anne-Jacques Gabriel for the King Louis XV, this royal apartment was composed of an antechamber, a bedroom, and a corner cabinet. Louis XV settled here in 1768 and slept here regularly. Louis XVI, however, although would assign himself the place, would never sleep here. His sister, on the other hand, Madame Élisabeth, resided in the apartment regularly.
Preferring to sleep at the main Château de Versailles, Louis XVI kept the decor chosen by his ancestor Louis XV for this room. Just like the walls and the furniture, the bed is decorated with a crimson and white silk lampa. This room was occupied in the 19th century by Prince Camille Borghese, husband of Pauline Bonaparte, Napoleon's sister, then by the Duke of Orléans.
Le Cabinet du Roi is located at the top of the removed private staircase that led to Madame du Barry's. It is the only space refurnished by Louis XVI in 1777. He ordered special furniture for this private office.
The rooms following the king's apartment have been recently redesigned to reflect the female personalities who lived in Petit Trianon.
Madame Élisabeth's room has a flowery decor using the famous printed canvas of Juillet, or Toile de Juillet, of 1780s. Her portrait, done by Élisabeth Vigée-Lebrun, is presented in this space as well.
The second bedroom, with simply molded woodwork and a stone fireplace painted in a faux marble, belonged to Marie-Thérèse Charlotte, known as Madame Royale, daughter of Louis XVI and Marie-Antoinette. Madame Royale is the only child of Louis XVI and Marie-Antoinette who survived the revolution.
As we walked through the many corridors of this floor, we couldn't help but be totally amazed by the size of Petit Trianon. It seems small when you visit it by yourself, but goodness, it is huge if you go behind the closed doors.
Le cabinet de toilette de l'impératrice Marie-Louise presents the furniture in the shape of gondola, restored from the archives.
Her bedroom stuns with a deep blue color. The Duchess of Orléans kept the Empress furniture for her own while having a sky blue satin replaced in 1837 by a more sustained blue. A more sober bed without curtains was placed here at the same time. On the wall hangs a portrait of the King of Rome, son of Napoleon and Marie-Louise, barely 1 year old.
Le boudoir de la Duchesse d'Orléans was used by Hélène Louise of Mecklenburg-Schwerin, wife of Louis Philippe's first eldest son.
And finally, La Salle Eugénie, named after Empress Eugénie, whose bust graces the fireplace. Under the Second Empire, she decided to revive Le Petit Trianon by gathering a number of objects that belonged to the Queen Marie-Antoinette, and then presented them to the public in 1867 during the first exhibition she organized in the honor of the Queen.
As we left the attic, we were overwhelmed with the feeling of unexplained gratitude and privilege, as during the Revolution, Le Petit Trianon was transformed for some time into an inn, while the gardens only narrowly escaped the subdivision.
It was Napoleon I who had it restored for his sister Pauline, then the Empress Marie-Louise, his second wife. Finally, in 1867, the Empress Eugénie, wife of Napoleon III, transformed the Petit Trianon into a museum dedicated to the memory of Marie-Antoinette.
You see, this is the Temple de l'Amour, or Temple of Love. And if you guys haven't seen our episode from Côte d'Azur, from Villa Rothschild, Villa Frusi Rothschild, watch it and you will see the copy of the temple. Not copy, but it was, let's say that one was inspired by this one. It looks very similar, And I love the setting, how the temple is right across from the actual palace. There is the same story, although you have to walk a little bit further down, and it's a little bit more ground. But here I think this one is a bit bigger in
This one is
size.
bigger than the other one.
Yes, Sinan is here.
Now we reach La Mode de la Reine Marie-Antoinette, but that's for another episode. Thank you for joining us. That's it for today. If you'd like to see more of these videos, don't forget to like, share and comment below. Until the next one, au revoir.